host, Tanya Ricketts, and we are having a conversation, a normal conversation of real talk, real people, real issues, real events. And tonight we have joining us all the way from London, England, Olivia Igwe. It is 12 midnight over there, your time. So audience, we have to thank Olivia for joining and staying up this late to be able to have this interview. Thank you. Welcome.
Oh, you're so welcome. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much, first of all, Tanya, for having me. And absolutely, like our conversation, the first time we connected and had that conversation, I did say, when you do go live on your show, I will make sure I make space because everybody's timing is so important. And I don't want to be the disturber and saying, I just can't come because I need to sleep. So right. I will do that effort. So that's absolutely fun. And I could not have a conversation with you. Like you've got so many gems and I'm just looking forward to our conversation. So thank you.
Right. Yeah, no, thank you. Well, you're quite the decorated individual, I have to say. And we've talked about this offline. I love your energy. You are a fashion network marketer is what you say, if I remember that correctly. You have a clothing line, which I love. Be you, do you. Love it. The message. You have a nutritional supplement business, and you are all about fashion and color. So I guess for me, the biggest curiosity is how do you incorporate all that? Where did it all start? Be you, do you, the confidence piece, the be you, do you piece, nutritional supplement, what's the drive behind that, and fashion and color. And obviously your ad is stunning. It looks like a Vogue. Looks like it's on the Vogue cover.
This is how you pose, right?
So what drove it all? Where did we start? Where did we
start? Man, where can I start? I would probably say, well, first of all, thank you for all that. I will take you everywhere to introduce me. So that's cool. Now that you're on Clubhouse, I'll be like, girl, you can introduce me. We're good. You know what? It started younger when my mom literally found that I loved wearing different pieces. And so she realized that some pieces she didn't like me wearing. So she'd have me choose two pieces that she wanted me to wear. One she knew I would absolutely not like at all. And the one that she chose, which I generally went for. So I was forced to be into that and not to choose what I wanted. But then it turned into, at the age of I'd probably say 15, 16, I would go to the market and I would come back with pieces. Because at the time, the market was like super, super cheap. You could get pieces and then reinvent them plus vintage pieces. And so every time I would wear something, it would either be when I was sad, what would I feel? What would I wear if I wanted to be gangsta? What would I wear if I wanted to be romantic? What did I want to wear? And so that's how it started. And then I never was really good at school. I was always a dreamer. So for me, I was like, oh, well, even I was talking to my sister the other day and she's like, what did you want to be when you were young? Because my sister wanted to be a cleaning lady. She didn't end up doing that, but no offense to the cleaning lady. It's just that, Georgina now is wanting to be an athletic, which is fine. I always wanted to be my own boss. I listened to Tony Robbins and Bob Proctor. So from a young age, I blended the fashion and then Tony Robbins, like energy is and everything. And where you focus your energy flows. And so I was in that mood. And then through that, did a fashion school, loved fashion, taking the clothes of the designers and put them in magazines. So I would be like a stylist. And so that was my whole journey. And then as a stylist, when you work with magazines, you take the clothes of the designers, you put them on magazines, on models. You have to work for yourself. So you have to do the word of mouth. And if people like you, then they recommend you and all that kind of stuff. And so that's how the confidence came in. And as I was building the brand, I was like, well, at the time, everybody had like a real cool name, like the stitches of this and, fancy stuff, right? And I was like, I don't fancy any special names. So I'm just going to call myself Olivia Igwe, and in the end, it's going to be international. And then I kept on saying the last couple of years, like, be you, do you. And then it just kept on saying, be you, do you. The world does not dictate who you are, but you dictate the world. And so it blended into one. that's how the brand Be You Do You came. But the confidence came way before, where I always showed up, but never to please anyone. It was always just for me. And my whole goal was always, I mean, I always stand out. So I wasn't there to impress. I was just there to say, hey, look, this is me. You don't like me, that's fine. You like me, that's cool. Let's just like see where it goes. Because I realized very early on, the more you stand out, and you only have 5 seconds for somebody to like you, not like you, dislike you. And so if you have that first impression there, you're going to be remembered. And I always think of this quote from Jeff Bezos, where he says, be that person that even in you're not in the room, they know who you are.
Right.
And that resonated.
Good for you. Good for you. And I love the fact that you went in not looking to conform to anybody else or anything else, just yourself. And I love the way, so I'm a God believer, and I love the way God inspired it through you, Be You Do You, through that experience of just going in and making the decision, this is who I am. And you're going to remember me, trust me. I love the confidence piece where you just have this knowing that you are going to remember me. I want to take it back about your fashion piece with your mom. Okay. With your choosing. So I want the audience to know that we had an offline conversation about being hot. And I was saying to you that, at my age, I'm going through some changes. I've got the ceiling fan. So even in the midst of it being midnight in London, England, you're like, I'm hot, I'm cold, I'm not sure what I'm going to be wearing. So you design a half piece that will keep you cool. That's just a sweatshirt, and so no matter what happens, you're
so just in case I'm not moving and I don't have my hand, I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to keep it like this. So at least I got one arm that's really warm, and the other one, I got some fresh air that just comes through.
I love it.
And it's funny how we just connected. Like, you're going through changes and I'm going through changes, same thing. So perfect.
But you made a designer piece out of it. You made a hat, like you're constantly, unconsciously, constantly creating. So I think it's fabulous. Right? That's going to be the new summer look for everybody, right? The Be You Do You with the hat.
Be You Do You, guys. This is the summer look. And then if you want to lapse it on the side, or you want to put it, like, it's absolutely fine, right?
So when it just comes natural, it comes natural.
Absolutely. So
I know in a lot of your posts, you talk about chakras.
Yes.
Talk about, color, and how do we unify the chakras, the color, the nutrition, the fashion? Like, where does that inspiration come from? How do you fuse it together? And how do you help women understand that? And I'm speaking primarily to the woman audience.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I love that question. That's absolutely amazing. Of course, when I say women, it's because we both predominantly talk to women, but men resonate. That's absolutely fine. It was more for the chakras. So I've always loved color. I've always loved blending. I've always fallen in love with like the neon and the fuchsias and the other colors. And so throughout me opening my first company, I realized that it was very much 5 seconds. Well, actually it's less now for somebody, to have an opinion on you and to make that stand. And when I talk about chakras, without making it, too heavy, and without just enough for somebody that doesn't know about it, which is literally a wheel of energy that we have within our bodies, that align us with where we're supposed to go. And the wheel of energy affects our everyday life. So if you feel a little bit moody or a little bit tired, it's generally because maybe you're not focused or you don't know where you're going. And so the wheel of energy that we have different chakras that represent different layers of where we are. So we have 12, but I only talk about the 7. So it starts with the bottom of the spine where you have the root chakra. Then it goes a little bit higher, the pelvis, where you have the sacral, which is orange. So the root is red. Orange is sacral, solar plexus is the digestion, heart is green, throat is blue, third eye is indigo, and purple is crown chakra. And so all of these will represent various different things. And without making it too complicated, I always say you need to align your 3 basic chakras, which is the root, the sacral, and the solar.
And how do you match that to the food? Because you just said the grain. Like, you just matched food to that.
Yeah. So, because I also align it also with the foods. So the root chakra is when we talk about, because I talked about digestion, everything, we're a human body having a human experience doing various different things. And sometimes we go through different seasons that stop us from doing where we're supposed to go. And if you add color, and I know that if a woman wears red lipstick or wears red nail polish, which is a color that is connected to your sexuality, sensuality, but also to the masculine and the feminine energy, the yin and the yang, not meaning that, masculine, feminine, women, whatever, it's just literally just the yin and the yang. It will help birth your idea. It will help you with your focus and your concentration. And if a woman is in her vision, in her purpose, she's unstoppable, which means also that you can connect it to the personalities too. And so I realized that when a woman wears red or when she wears color, automatically it changes everything. It makes her just as attractive as any other woman, but it has her stand out without needing to wear that neon color, but it will differentiate her, but still have a blend into her purpose. And when women own who they are by their colors and their personality, automatically it just changes everything.
Right. So do we have special colors? Do you think we're born with special colors?
So we're mainly born with the same colors. So, red, orange, yellow, all that kind of stuff. After, it depends on if we go into the color matching and coding of your wardrobe, you may be more of a warm personality or a cold. Not meaning that, cold is you don't talk to people, and warm, you're just like a lovey-dovey person. It just means that maybe pastel colors will suit you better cold. I always take the example of people from like Norway or Denmark. When they wear a blue, their blue is an icy blue, but it makes their eyes pop up. You and I would wear that blue. We would look as if we need to go to the hospital because we look white. And we need Jesus. So it literally is just going to be understanding your colors, knowing what suits you. So the colors initially will be the same. It's understanding which tone are you going to be more of. I know I'm more.
I say for myself, I look in my wardrobe and I don't even have color. I am 100% white top, white t-shirt, blouse, doesn't matter, just as long as it's white on the top and a pair of jeans, and I'm golden. I'm a little bold.
We need to add some color in there.
Right. Very conservative.
But yeah, and it's funny because once you alter small things, which could be, for example, I always go that you don't need to change your whole wardrobe, but it could be, for example, buying lingerie that would be maybe a bit more colorful, because that's the first piece that we put on before putting socks on. Although some will tell me I put socks on first. I don't get that, but that's another subject for another matter. But it's the first thing that we put on. And I think that starts with self-love. And once you start self-loving yourself, that adds confidence. And if you can add 1% every single day and do something that makes you maybe a little bit feel uncomfortable, by the next 30 days or 365 days, you will feel so much better. And so that's what I really want people to understand, is that once you add color and you know exactly who you are, you're unstoppable.
Right. So they include colors with purses as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Now that I can go all colorful. I can have every color purse that you can think of. Just a white shirt, pair of jeans, and a colorful purse, and I'm golden.
and you know what? And it's funny because it's a friend that does crystals, and she's like, I don't see myself wearing other colors, but I was like, maybe find a top that you like wearing and find it in different colors. So it's the same top, but different colors. And then for you, it will take that pressure off. Right. Because not everybody has that vision of like, I did somebody's wardrobe, a friend who's a female-led coach speaker here in the UK. she loves doing what she does, but putting an outfit together is like a drag for her. Yeah. So what I did was, yeah, and I could probably understand, right? So I put like an outfit, 5 of her outfits. I put it in less than 5-10 minutes, but because I knew what she would look well in. And so it just takes off that pressure. And sometimes we go way too much into thinking what we should, when it just has to be simple, simple, right. Systematic.
Right. So let's talk about, and thank you for that, because, I think I want to stay on that for a little bit. I think a lot of times women lack the confidence in trying. We don't want to stand out. We don't want to be too bold. If we wear that bright orange top, that'll probably look fabulous on us. We don't want to stand out. We don't want to make a statement. We just want to fly under the radar. Yeah. And I love your statement in Be You, Do You, because it's breaking that. It's, guys, stop playing small, stop, that message and that narrative that you're driving home. What's something very basic and simple somebody can do? And I know you said just baby steps.
Yeah.
But is it maybe with an earring or, even jewelry sometimes, I think. I won't wear jewelry. Like, this is probably as loud as I'll get. Yes, I'm letting myself be known to the world that I'm very conservative. I'm not a risk taker like that. Because I'm that woman. I'm speaking to myself. Like, I wouldn't want to go somewhere and stand out. I just want to fall under the radar.
Yeah. And I'm like, and here in my inside, I'm like, no, right. No, we can't do that. But it really depends on what's the outcome. In fashion, it's very much different, where 10 years ago, it was very much, it wasn't what it was today, where, you have the X size model, everybody can fit in, etc. We literally, as, as stylists, we didn't have very much, should I say, cultural differences, where you had a mixture of different people. The only thing that they would think of is Naomi Campbell and her walking, the red carpet or whatever it was, the runway, and that's it. Whereas now it's diversity. There we go, diversity. And so whereas today it's very much everybody has a voice and can share it. And so for me, I've had to stand out, even though I didn't necessarily want to, but that was the only way for me to get a foot into the door. And I'm okay with that. So it was me paving the way as a leader would. And so when I say like small changes, and I love that you're pointing it out, because not everybody, I really want to make sure that I don't want you to become me if that's not the case, but I want you to go home with small things that will work for you. So it could simply be, maybe changing like your lingerie. When's the last time that you bought yourself an amazing set, an amazing piece? You don't need to go, all guns in to go like and take, the high-end pieces, but it could be something that, is nice quality for you and that you can use, Victoria's Secret or some other stuff.
I like the way that you said that. It's the first piece that you put on yourself. And just, wear something very nice, very loving, very, like, it's a whole concept. It's not just about the lingerie. It's about the first thing you put on your body.
Onto your body. That's so important, because it's the skin, and clothing is a second skin. It's not, oh, I'm just putting clothes on. We don't walk naked, so we need clothes. So it's better to have it on, right? But it could be that. And then the second, I always say, hey, look, if you can add maybe either a colored top or not, or if people don't like that, I always say go jewelry. If not jewelry, go for perfume. Mm-hmm. Because it's something that you can smell. And if you feel good in it, automatically your energy is absolutely going to shift. And I find that it's a subtle, like little shift, but I know that when I wear my perfume, which is generally like a Tom Ford one, I know I own the space and I smell nice, not to smell nice, but to smell nice and to feel confident within myself.
Mm-hmm. So, I like that. That's the one thing I can say that I do. I wasn't a perfumer before. Now that my kids are older, I'm like, I love a nice scent, or when you walk up to somebody and you smell them and they, it's like, you smell nice, or people will come to me and say, you smell very nice. It's like, thank you. And you're right. You own that space. You're much more comfortable and you really do own that space.
Oh, yeah.
a lot.
And I'll tell you this, there's something about when you walk in a space and you're just cruising through and the wind and the smell that comes together, it's memory. People will remember you regardless of who it is. I will tell you this, one of my exes, he had a perfume. And until it was one of my boyfriend's friend that wore it, I still remembered him because of the friend, because I knew the scent was him.
Right. You left they left their mark. So it's like
he left his mark, right? And so I think it's so important because that's also a way, because not everybody is visual. Now, yes, colors are powerful, but it could be a smell will have you remember. And we're really good women, as you know, good at putting a good impression or a well impression and doing it well. And you also want to add those senses. So I always, definitely.
And it does, like, I'm going to take it back to the chakra for a minute. You know, it touches on the emotions and the senses, and it not realigns. I don't even know the word I'm looking for, but it helps with the chakras.
Yeah, no, and we can say it realigns because it's something that it's a subtle thing, but at the end of the day, we have so many negative thoughts. So why not try and alter it by having positive things? And if you add that perfume that have you remember, I don't know, the summer holidays or this or that, automatically your brain will be stuck to that instead of thinking of, oh, I haven't done this and haven't done that. So it's a little shift in your brain. It'll be like, on top of like the affirmations that you would say or prayer or whatever for anybody.
Right. Okay, good. Like, so let's talk about the nutrition aspect, because you touched upon earlier on where here it is. We've got the root chakra, which is, you know, associated with digestion. I think you talked about which one was connected to the brain. Was it
So the heart is the soul of the heart is the heart. Right. The heart is the brain. But the solar plexus is connected to the digestion. So please.
So I know that with your nutritional aspect, you talk a lot about colors as it relates to chakra. I know in the movie Emotion, I don't know if you're familiar with that movie. It's on Gaia. It was the old FMTV Food Network, Food Matters. I think it was the Food Matters Network. They talk about eating the colors of the rainbows of foods to align and rebalance your chakras. So talk to us a little bit about that. Like, what type of colors, foods do we eat to align ourselves with the heart chakra?
Yeah. So that's an amazing question, because not a lot of people know about this, but food is something that we can't live without. And we always, when we have a plate of color or food, automatically our brain just goes crazy. It's like a DJ set in your brain that's going, oh, food, color, yellow, green, all that kind of stuff. And so today we've just been so used to eating fast food or quick food or processed food for some people. I can't eat processed food because my body automatically will figure it out and be like, no. I told you, and now you're just gonna scratch, right? Your whole body. And so it really is where I believe you should have a bit of both without making it, too nutritional, because it's not much of my background. But I know that if you drink, well, generally, for example, I'll take the example of the solar plexus, which is the yellow, which is connected to digestion. I can say that I love the yellow color. It's a color that brings, when summer comes up, you're smiling. You know that when you go to the beach or when somebody wears a bathing suit that is yellow, it's like, it looks amazing. And so I realized if you incorporate that into your food, automatically you're going to work on yourself. Now, of course, going through the digestion means that there's also a lot of emotions. When you have like a stomach ache, we tend to keep like a lot of emotions within our bodies and inside of our stomach, which is very interesting. We have like 150 emotions from what my mom was telling me. She does the emotional freedom technique, which is just releasing emotions that we have from the past. Or, your mom could have said, look, don't eat that pasta or don't eat those cookies at a time. And you thought she didn't like you and you held that emotion for so long. So that's where we literally keep it. And so I realized that if you're not feeling well in your clothes, and you don't have the confidence, and you're not eating correctly, you're only eating fast food, then there's no way for you to own your life. And so when I go through the colors, I say, do a detox, do a cleanse your body. And so with eating normal food, it's great to have that, but you also need the nutritional supplements that will balance the body, because it has a technology inside of it, which is called nanotherapy. So it works on a cellular level. So it's like super intelligent, basically. You drink it, you feel it, and then automatically your mood changes. Like for me, I had eczema like due to the medical world, I had to have a few, right? And so what happens was like, I just had like eczema on a high scale, and I never had it when I came here to London. And I've been traveling around the world, like 12 different places with my family. But when I came to London, it just like flared up to a point where even washing or having a shower, it just scratched. And I was like, I just don't understand. But here in the UK, the pollution is so high. But I was also going through opening my second company. And so a lot of emotions were going through. And so that's when I checked into the emotions. And that's when I thought, okay, chakra, love the colors, blend the chakras, find a supplement that can help me without knowing that it actually would. And so once I was healed from it, I was like, makes sense. It just aligns into one. And I'm like, that's my story. I'm gonna run with that one. And it seriously does, because I used to have like a pigmentation, and I literally don't have any anymore, because I do CrossFit. And so CrossFit is super intense. Like I would scratch, when you do like the bar muscle ups, whatever, it was so painful. I'm like,
and I get it. Like I'm listening to the story and I'm identifying and I'm relating to it. For years, I've always been on an alternative path, I say, where food and nutrition is in our household. And when I got married, my husband said to me, that's fine. You can do that. You can do that with the kids. I'll respect it. I'll support it. Just leave me out of it. Leave me with my potato chips. So we had a very divided home where food was concerned. And one day, what you said, when you do your intense workout, he was reacting to the sun, and it started out on his arm, and then it moved to the neck, and then it was bleeding. And I used to just sit and laugh. And I said, your body needs to reset. I said, look at wheatgrass, look at spirulina. Like I said, your body is requiring the dark green leafy vegetables to put oxygen to the brain through the blood. Like it was just, your white blood cells, your red blood cells. And I'm just laughing. And I said, we need to cut the sugar out of your diet for a moment. So it got so out of control that he looked at me and he goes, I'm so desperate. Whatever you want me to do, I'll do. So I said, all right. I said, 2 weeks, give me 2 weeks. 2 weeks, I juiced wheatgrass. I juiced up, I gave him spirulina, a whole bunch of things. And I just completely, knew that I was resetting his system. 2 weeks later, he gets up in the bed and he goes, you're right. So imagine, your husband doesn't like to admit that his wife is right. Says, you're right, honey, you're right. And I go, for what? And he goes, he grabs my hand to touch his and he goes, see, you're right. And I said, I have no idea. He says, it's gone. And I said, yes. Yeah. And he goes, emotionally, he was feeling better, and his energy, things were happening for him that, his luck was increasing. So it's not just physically, everything just really energetically just opens up for you.
Oh yeah. And I love it what you say, because generally men, if you're with a man or whatever, or vice versa, will not listen to you until they hear it from somebody else, or they're desperate. And so that's when you get it. But it's like hitting that wall, and it's like, okay. And I'm just here eating the popcorn and just like, can I help you? Do you need some help? Because I can help you, but yeah,
that's okay. And and it's fine. Like we all have to go through those experiences, but it's so true when you're eating, fleshing out the system. It's not, to me, when I look at that, it's just, I tend to be a palate that really enjoys dark green leafy vegetables. Like I can eat raw dark greens, and for some reason my palate loves it. It cleanses my palate. I feel good. I feel,
and it craves it, right? You're craving it.
I do. And I feel really connected to the earth, and to it just cosmically, I just feel really connected. Yeah. And I love color. Like I was sharing with somebody the other day some food. In order for me to get my kids to eat healthy when they were younger, I really had to put the work in to make it look appealing. So when you're talking about the colors, and I love going into the grocery store, like I get excited to see the produce and the different colors, and then coming home and putting it all together and making it look good on the plate, and then having the social interaction, eating dinner together, and like the whole thing that goes with it. But when we talk about color, the color, when you're seeing the rainbow and how happy it makes you feel before it even enters your mouth, is phenomenal. Oh, yeah. So a child now sees all this color like crayons and they get excited, except it's
yeah, because it changes your whole mood. And, you know, as you said, a rainbow is full of colors and it brings you back to childhood. And I think that's something that we've seemed to lost throughout life, where we just want to fit in and be everybody together. But that's not what society, I mean, that's not what life is. I mean, I'm not saying you should look like a sprinkling rainbow, like, don't get me wrong, that's not the point I'm saying. Unless you want to, that's absolutely fine, which is my case. But incorporate it for you to be that rainbow into somebody else's life, because you never know who you can empower by, you know, just saying, look, you smell amazing, or you look amazing today. And I think as women, sometimes we tend to, you know, look at them on the side and say, girl, she looks amazing, or I'm not going to, you know, give her that credit. It literally is, you know, what you, and you talked about energy, what you give, you receive. So yeah, absolutely. I do agree with you.
So I just want to talk about this for a little bit. I want to go into you personally. I know that you've traveled, and what's the vision for you? What's the goal for you with this, your nutrition business, your fashion and color? What's your goal in helping people?
Yeah, well, goal for this year is to make the UK market #1 in the nutritional supplements. So I've decided to go less into the fashion sort of industry, because right now it's altering, it's changing. Nobody really knows what's going on, and people tend to not necessarily shop as they used to beforehand.
But yeah, okay, sorry.
I mean, shop, but it's a very different sort of shop, like sportswear or just loungewear that just makes you look and feel comfortable. And there really is like a whole recycling and economy. And I think I've just fallen a bit out of love with it. Like, I can help put a piece together, but redoing a wardrobe doesn't float my boat no more, as leadership does, where, you know, having somebody on your team and saying they want to go this way, so how can you get them to their goal, which is something that I thrive off, because for me it's a language that I am giving back. So for me, that's where we're heading to do more. We're working on the second sort of collaboration with Be You Do You, with Fit Me Clothing. So we have inspirational postcards, and in the inspirational postcards we have, what is it? If I find it here, it's perfect having it here. Yeah, so we have like the jumper, and so we have like the London Bridge, and it says success lays on the other side. So we have hoodies and jumpers, but I love the inspirational postcards. I literally took them with my phone, and then I
saw that you were taking these pictures with your phone.
I love taking pictures. I mean, today people see me like on social media and branding myself, but if I could just brand myself with this and just have like my pictures of my shoes or my socks, I would absolutely do it. Like, I am the sort of person that when it comes offline, like I'm a church mouse. I don't really talk, but I'm loud on social media because I know it's visual. So to do more of those collaborations, and yeah, main goal right now is just to build
these pictures are pictures you took with your phone in your travels. You said you traveled, 7 different countries, was it?
Yeah, so I moved 12 times. So I've been to mainly Europe, I never lived, I just went on holiday in the US, but then I've been to Australia, been to Hong Kong, Singapore, haven't done Thailand yet. I mean, there's so many countries I still want to do. In my mind, I haven't done many, but yeah, I've mainly, my parents, so born in the UK, and then we traveled as of like a year old. And so I just followed my dad, to be honest. It's not as if like a year old, you say, hey, dad, it's cool, but I think we need to stay where we are, right? So
And
it's
you
just
speak
like,
many different languages as well.
yeah, so French, English, and Italian. I used to speak Dutch and German, but I haven't kept it. So
Okay, all right. So let's talk about leadership, like be you, do you. So your goal is to inspire others to really be the vehicle and the leader that helps people have the courage to be them and to do that.
yeah, yeah. That's the main goal. I mean, if I can, apart from building, the network marketing team, and it's funny because somebody said earlier on, I don't want to. I'm not interested in joining your team, but by just looking at your videos, I'm so inspired by what you do. And that for me is already like, it makes me happy because I know she's slowly altering her life however she sees it. And at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter as long as you start owning who you are. And I'm able to be that vehicle on a small part of your chapter, then my goal is absolutely done. Yeah.
Right. And the benefits to it is they get the nutritional aspect of it as well, right? Because I always think that those things, like, I know a lot of people in network marketing, and I just think it's just a vehicle for them to really help and contribute to something bigger than just the network marketing part. It's the leadership. It's helping people just succeed and break through barriers that they wouldn't normally have the opportunity to do outside of that realm.
Yeah. And you're so right, because when I look at various different, people in the network marketing industry that are really successful, it's a vehicle to get them there. But at the same time, that opens doors to different investments. So, family investments, to housing and all that kind of stuff. And that is the goal, to be able to be like, okay, family legacy is good for so many years, to be like that first family member to be financially free for the rest of like my family. That's my ultimate goal. But then after that, it's just how can I serve and also open various things to be able to give that opportunity to, have a nail salon that has all different colors, because I know many nail salons.
Let's see your name.
Yeah, you see. Many nail salons don't have like bright colors. And I was like, because they only go for the classic.
Right.
And so, yeah, doing something that all has different streams of income and that I can give back. So yeah, definitely.
Right. It's funny because when we talk about network marketing, I believe Bob Proctor, who you mentioned earlier on in the show, Bob Proctor, who happens to have started out 10 minutes away from where I live here in Canada. He's Canadian and lives 10 minutes away. So, Bob Proctor started out in the network marketing industry.
Indeed.
And that's how he was able to use it to leverage his talents.
Yeah.
To be able to become the person that he is today. And I believe there's a lot of other people. I believe Jack Canfield as well.
There are so many. I mean, if we counted all of it, from Tony Robbins to Jack Canfield, he's back into network marketing. But yeah, there's so many, and a lot of people won't necessarily talk about it, but there's like, I feel I'm at the stage where I'm like, guys, just don't hide it, but like also inspired to say that brought you tools. And it's funny because Bob Proctor was in one of the companies that I was in, and we have like a friend in common, because I also met him at the Paradigm Shift, which he's an awesome man. I mean, so much, and he can see, like, he has another gift. He can see your aura and definitely just like pick you up in a second, like just looking at your eyes. I find it fascinating. I mean, personal development, we could talk about years, but yeah, it's fascinating.
I have his whole series, so I'm very familiar. I saw him when he was here. Again, he was 10 minutes.
I mean, yeah, I was about to say he lives 10 minutes away, so you can just knock on the door and say, hey, Bob, can we just have a drink?
Right. And it's nice because, with it, network marketing, you get to share all your talents, your gifts, the be you, do you. You get to, you're not locked into just their idea. You get to explore. It's actually the reverse. You have a space to explore your ideas. In addition, you're around like-minded people and you're motivating one another and you're holding each other accountable to moving forward. Yeah. So it's just, you can see how it's just such a great community. And I think that with network marketing, it is about, really understanding who your leader is. And I'm not a part of network marketing myself. I just have to put it out there to the audience. However, I do support and value it because I do see the real benefits that come from, being a part of such family and such community. Talk about your experience in your network marketing.
Yeah. And I want to bounce back onto the fact that you said, I always wanted to have a brand. So when, regardless of who you are, and this is what I really understood, because I opened my first company and had to shut it down after 2 years. So it cost me like $50 and then I had to shut it down for $4,000 because of French rules and regulations, which was like a drag, but it's fine. You learn from it, right? And so it literally is that you are the brand and the face of who you are, and whoever will come to you will purchase because they appreciate what you're doing. And that's what I really wanted to incorporate into my brand and partnering up with another brand. I really wanted to make sure that when you come to Livy Igwe, you get like the entity Livy Igwe. Yes, she is partnered up, but you're going to get that service from me than anything else. And so to answer your question, I was in network marketing thanks to Mom, because she started actually in the same network marketing as Bob did in the mattresses at the time. And so I was a passenger. I saw what it is. Initially I wanted to set up something where I had set up Start Your Life, something with entrepreneurs. I had to change the name. And so I started up with one of the girls that was in the same business as but we were just like cross-line. We weren't in the same team. And I was so passionate about, doing brunches and having events where you have DJ, you have music, but you also can eat something really, really nice and have the food at the same time. And it worked for like a couple of months and then it just went downhill because I didn't have the support. And then I just like dabbled, went to like 6 different network marketing companies because I was trying to figure out what was working for me and what blended with me. Until literally last year, when this whole amazing event happened, since we've been through and we're still here in the UK. I was left with nothing because I couldn't take my clients shopping, because what I did beforehand is take them shopping for 2 days, understanding their wardrobe and take them out for lunch, scanning what they need and adapting what their wardrobe is. So maybe if it was to get a nice evening outfit, like let's go and find the places, but I want her to go by herself with me. So then she can do it alone. What I want to be there is what I was wanting is to be there with you. But then after that, you can fly your own wings. And so when that was shutting down, well, I was left with no income. So a friend had called me up at the time because I was like, I don't know what I'm going to be doing. The latest one, a network marketing company, didn't work and I was attracting the wrong people. And I was like, look, you're going to have to help me out. And then just jumped on the ship and literally built a business online without.
You've got your board. And I know when you do your talks, you've got your boards, you're super committed, super dedicated into your goals and just inspiring people to show what's possible. And I like the fact, so thank you for sharing. And I love this about the show, where I love and appreciate every single guest that comes on to Tanya Talks that really opens up and shares that it wasn't all glam, right? You went through some moments that you had to shut down, you had to rebuild, you had to regroup, you had to regain. But through it all, what I love about it is you never wavered on the core value of yourself was be you, do you. This is what you see is what you get. And I'm going to make sure that I make my mark in the process.
Yeah. And I love what you're saying because, I'll say this, like network marketing it's easy. It's straight to the point, but it takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of vision. And here in the UK, there's no real leader. So I consider myself the leader. And so when they say, look, a network marketing is so less of an investment, there's very minimum investment, but the work ethic is intense, because in the first 5 years, you're going to be sowing a lot or growing a lot. And I'll be honest with you. I go live every single day, but some days I don't want to go live. I don't want to share what I want to share. I just want to mold into my own little spirit bed and just like eat pizza or food that my boyfriend has cooked. I just don't want to do it. But I realize that if I show up for one person and that person is inspired to do something, or that person is inspired to say, hey, look, Olivia's showing up, I can do that too. That for me is something that I just can't give up on. And once you've thrown yourself in the deep end, literally there's no turning back. And I'm the sort of person, I give my word. When I say something, I will get there, even if I have to walk and it takes me 1,000 years to get there, because like I have to do. I was literally on a training call with one of the leaders in the company that I'm with, and he was on the product since the age of 3, and he vowed to, and he's 28 now, and he vowed to his dad, he's like, I am not joining your network marketing company. He took him 5 different jobs to figure out that he wasn't doing it. And literally I just tagged him on a video because I was like, it's great to see somebody else that has done what you are aspiring to do. And he's like, oh my goodness, I've heard so much about you. I don't freaking know his name. I mean, I know his name, but I don't freaking know have any conversation with him. Right. So my name is already there. And so I am so big on, if you show up, show up.
Half of it is just showing up. I think with anything in life, half of it is showing up. Yeah. Whether you feel like it or not, showing up. And I've always lived from the school of thought where everybody's searching for freedom. And I know we're digressing here a little bit, and a lot.
Sorry.
It's all right. This is what it is. Everybody's looking for this sense of freedom. And I say there's freedom in discipline. You can discipline yourself. That's where your freedom lies. It's like, you discipline yourself with your body. You have the freedom of enjoying the clothes that you want. You discipline yourself with your finances. You have the freedom of, like, there is so much freedom in discipline. And we undervalue, I think, the sense of discipline. And discipline is showing up when we don't feel like showing up. Like you said, not every day you want to go live. And that's where your freedom is going to come, because you don't know if that's the one day that it's going to. And people say the alternative, like, well, it's not going to make or break you if you miss one. But then there's the other mentality. And I think it's just what you choose to embrace. I like the fact that just half of the battle is just showing up. So all I have to do is show up.
Yeah. Show up. And, it doesn't have to be perfect, at the end of the day. And one of my mentors, he was saying, he's like, is it going to serve you in the next 4 years? And if it's going to serve you in the next 4 years, then do it. And I think that's, if you look at any entrepreneur that is successful, they showed up and they did a daily method of operation that they not necessarily loved, but it paid out on the right end. And I think that's a bit of our society where we think, I got it. I got the deal, got the t-shirt, we're out. But sometimes you need to hear it. And if you're not where the person is or wherever you want to go and however it is, then put in the freaking work to get there. So yeah, absolutely agree with you.
Yeah. I laugh at people. I had somebody on a couple of weeks ago, and I appreciated the fact that she shared the fact that she's still learning along the way. And you shared this evening, you've gone through different roles, different titles, but again, you just keep showing up. They said the same thing. I can tell you, anybody that's known me along the way, I've been an empowerment coach. I've been a mental detox practitioner. I've been like it all. And it just, at the end of the day, the core of, I just know I'm called to serve in the capacity of helping people love themselves more deeply, and just keep showing up no matter what the title or anything looks like. That when you know what you're called to do, and you just show up, it'll kind of water finds its own level. It'll sort itself out.
Yeah. And you say something that's very important, is that once you align with your core value and how you're doing it, which is, your dot that Dean Graziosi talks about, where it's your story. What is your core value that nobody can take out of you, because you're talking through what your gift is. And sometimes people get just so onto the other side, but when you speak your truth, there's nothing that can stop you. And so that comes in, with your confidence, knowing who you are, loving yourself with the colors and all that.
The truth shall set you free. So.
Yes.
So let's end off. Just tell us a little bit about. So we've got your website at oliviaigwe.com. We've got you on Facebook, Olivia Igwe International, Instagram, Olivia Igwe, XOTV, which you had mentioned is like another YouTube coming up. Be You Do You, and Clubhouse. You're also on Olivia Igwe. So let's just talk about what can they find when they go to your social media. I want everybody to follow you, and what can they find? What kind of help can they get? What are they getting when they get there?
Yeah, so basically the Olivia Igwe, you type it, Olivia Igwe, you'll find all the different, I made sure that all my names are everywhere. But you will literally either find empowerment, you'll find some craziness workouts, but you'll also find tips on confidence, a bit of like emotional freedom technique, and also building a business on, how to get like my products, like either, the jumper or the nutritional supplements. It just basically is a body, mind, and soul literally aligned in my own sort of way, shape, which I always say, and it goes into a whole sentence. It's just be you, do you. The world does not dictate who you are, but you dictate the world. And so you get merch, you get nutrition, you get empowerment, which is all that I'm about.
So you did a post a couple of weeks back. You were going through a hair change. Yes. And I appreciated, and I love how you intimately invited us into your life as you were going through the process, drinking your drink, walking us through from beginning to end. And I just thought it was so cool that, again, you really stick to that narrative. Be you, do you. This is me. I'm going through this. This is what's going on. Look at my, because, you'd had it done. And
I literally had like the semi-afro.
And if I think to myself, if I'm going to follow somebody, I'm going to follow somebody through their authenticity.
Yeah.
Their truth, that isn't afraid to show what they look like with no makeup on, with makeup on, the whole gamma, the ups, the downs. That's who I want leading. Yeah. Somebody that is the real deal. And I loved it. And you went through a color change as well. I think you went from the burgundy.
We went from, actually it was a pink. So basically my hair, I kept my braids for 3 months, which is like 4 months, which is something that I never really do. But this amazing last couple of months of what we've been through has had us figure out different things. And so the color just literally came off. And so I was talking to my hairdresser and I'm like, I'd like to redo a weave because I don't wear wigs because I'm afraid that it's going to fly away and I don't do that stuff. So I'm old school. I'll do the weave, but it looks nice, right? And so he was like, okay, well, I'll cut it short and we'll have it like nicey curly. But my thing is my face goes really well with either super long or super short. I can't do in the middle and style. I don't even have time to cook for myself. Like it has to be easy, simple. That's why colored plates with different things has to be simple, right? and so yeah, I did the transformation. And at first I didn't want to do it, but I've realized that sometimes I always want to be perfect because I've been in the industry where, money is involved and, working with celebrities to royalties has a cost. And so you can't just show the bad side. You have to always show the glam. And so I realized with the stories and the reels, and Instagram is my jam. Like I love it. Facebook is just to show my lives, but Instagram really pushes my creativity and just shares, a bit of like what I have, because I would generally never share, the hairdresser because I have no makeup. I look like nothing. And it's like, it's my private, not parts, but it's just like, your private things. But
yes, and I appreciated it. I remembered it. It stood out for me. And I just thought, wow, this is great. Like, be you, do you, girl. Like, this is it. This is what you see. Is
all I have.
I thought it was phenomenal. I thought it was great. So I applaud you and appreciate that. And I want all women to take a page out of your book, to be able to be that bold and courageous. Even for me doing a talk show, I remember having to overcome some of my own images. And it was like, you know what, this is what we have, man. Be us, do us. Like, it is what it is, right?
Just take me as I am, and that's it. Yeah. And I think that's also the part of what society has a hard time with is just making us have to fuel into a box. But I realize with everything in you guys back in the US with the different presidency and having women, there's a shift coming without making, women, but having a stand for you and owning it, regardless of what others say.
Mm-hmm. It's so important, especially for the younger generation coming up. For men and women, little boys and little girls. I speak primarily with the women, just because I think girls have a harder time being encouraged to be that bold. They said confidence was the new sexy.
Yeah.
And I think that confidence really is just that comfortableness within your own skin of being you, doing you. And looking to communicate that to my own children, yet looking to be the example. I have to say it's been quite a challenge for me because I'm old school. I come from the old generation, so breaking down a lot of the old stigmas, paradigms, fears, insecurities, all the rest of that, but using them as my motivation to say, hey, look, if I ever want, I'm a firm believer with kids. I know you don't have kids yet. And I'm just a firm believer that we set our kids free when we set ourselves free first.
Yeah.
And, it's just really working towards that. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for being here. It's, Olivia Igwe is from London, England, network fashion marketer, nutrition, the whole bit. Follow her. You got to go on. You said your Instagram, and that's where most of your stuff is done.
Facebook, whatever. I mean, I would love to know, like, if what resonated with you, because can't see the comments yet, but if there are comments, it'd be absolutely great to connect. Like, just do tell me, drop me in my DMs. I'm always a message away.
Well, Olivia Igwe, I want you guys to DM her, and I want you to follow her, and I want you to hear all of her messages and see her confidence. That she just is not, you're not afraid to be you, do you. I love when you do your exercise routines and you're just showing everybody like, this is what it is. So you really, but it's like a reality, the Olivia Igwe reality TV, right? Of, look, I'm working hard. Here's my board, setting goals, sticking to the vision. Like you drive home that message, but you encourage people to follow you along the way. So good for you. And we, the audience, really, really is so appreciative. It's close to 1 o'clock in the morning there. She's got to be up at 5 in the morning.
Got to do a conditioning class. I don't even know how I'm going to be able to do this. So and it's the toughest one ever. So I'm like, that's going to be interesting.
Right. So we're sending you lots of love, lots of energy, lots of good vibes. So that because we just really appreciate the content that you brought to us this evening. Thank you again for being here. Thank you everybody for tuning in and watching. Olivia Igwe, Be You, Do You. Join us tomorrow evening where we will be joined by LeVar and Lolo Jennings. Solid as a rock, what it takes to take care of each other and nurture each other in relationships. So tune in tomorrow, Eastern Standard Time, 7 till 8, right here on Facebook Live. Thank you again, Olivia, for being with us, and have a good evening, everybody. Good night.
Thank you. Night.